Welcome in. It is the talk show you never knew you needed, but you do. It's Gridiron and Grapple. I'm Joe Miller, former Badger great Jason Suttle. Why is it always that the gridiron goes first? Why can't it be Grapple and Gridiron?
Everyone loves football more, man. It's a very simple concept.
Fair point.
Name me 10 wrestlers.
Maybe 10. Hey, we're at X-Golf Middleton this week. Glad you're with us. Last week you almost set a course record. I don't know what. Are you going to play again? Are you gonna
Yeah, I got to redeem myself after that start today. That was pretty bad after the one over.
We love this place, man. Simulator golf, best in the world. If you haven't been here, 2 locations, west side, east side, come on in. And we got leagues going. We got, you can play 9, you can hit the range. It's awesome. All right, we got 1 hour of amazing, world-changing sports talk. And we're going to deal with this Badger nightmare. I know you were at, talk about just bizarre, like the anniversary of the 98 Rose Bowl while Ohio State is just stomping our throats. So we'll talk about that and what is the status of Badger football. The Packers, how about that game Sunday night, right? Looked terrible for 30 minutes. Looked like Aaron Rodgers was going to have the last laugh, and then Jordan Love goes ham in the second half, plays like one of the best games you'll ever see, and the Packers win. And, of course, the greatest segment in the history of sports talk, our best bets.
Best bets.
By the way, 2-0 on blood bank specials. How about Green Bay last week? How about Pittsburgh 2 weeks ago?
Just warming up, man. We're just warming up.
So we got our best bets to finish up the show. All right, we got to start. My daddy, Dave Miller, love you, buddy, always said, start with the bad news, finish with the good news. So that's what I thought, Jason, would be the best way to start the show this week. And of course, the good is the Green Bay Packers, and the Bucs are playing well. You know, the Brewers, it was a tough inning, but the bad is really easy, and that's Wisconsin football. And we were here last week. You know, it was getting bad, and now it's getting like hysterically, comically bad. So I will start with that. You were at the 98 Rose Bowl reunion, and it just happened to be the day they played Ohio State. I didn't know they had a game against Oregon, and they actually played all right against Oregon, but they still lost. So let's start with, because you were obviously really good. Your team is really good. You guys won 2 Rose Bowls in the time you were at Wisconsin, 93 and 98. What did, I want to know, as just a fan, you lived it. What were your fellow teammates, ex-teammates, alumni saying when you were on the field before that Ohio State game to celebrate maybe one of the greatest accomplishments in the history, really, of the sports in Wisconsin, winning 2 Rose Bowls in 5 years?
The focus was the 94 Rose Bowl. It was awesome to go back to UW and see those guys, man. It was, and thank you very much to Luke Fickell and Chris McIntosh for having us. It was a great deal, man. We had great food, great events, excellent seats, got to go on the field. So it was really pretty awesome to see all those guys that I played with, and it was just a really, really cool event. And I'm glad that Fickell decided to go ahead and allow us to do that. And it was a Class A event, man. It really was. So that was really sweet. The football game, not so much.
Well, that's every week, bro.
That was a little brutal. A lot of guys were, that was a lot of the conversation, honestly, with a lot of the older guys that were on those teams is, what's going on? I had a lot of questions like, what's going on? I heard that a lot. What's going on? What are we doing? Where is this program going? How did this happen so fast?
Yeah.
We got a lot of those questions, man, because you look at these teams now, the teams that Fickell's throwing out there right now, and it's not a knock on these kids, man. These young men are out there trying, but it's about the program overall and where we're going with the program, and it was a lot of what's going on here, and there wasn't that fight that we really come to expect out of Wisconsin football. And so there's a lot of talk about that, and then obviously when the game started, they didn't play too bad, but considering the fact how the season's been going, they weren't horrible. They didn't play that bad, but there's still a lot of those same questions after the game too.
Well, here's the thing, and we're going to get into the Fickell aspect of this, and we're going to talk about what's going on in the coaching situation. Obviously, Penn State, Florida, LSU, and Wisconsin. You guys were great, but no disrespect. I mean, Florida, Penn State. LSU have all won national titles. Wisconsin hasn't. They fire their coaches. We still have our guys.
Yeah.
So I do want to get to that. But I guess before we get to that, and we talked about this, and you nailed it. And people can steal our stuff because this is the greatest talk show alive. But and it's getting. I've heard this more and more. Is you look at any good football team, like who are the best teams in the NFL right now? Probably the Kansas City Chiefs, Philadelphia Eagles, right? What do they did? They built an offensive line and a defensive line. You build from the inside out. And what Barry was so good at when you guys were there was building that offensive line, building that defensive line. There just aren't, and you said, like, there just aren't dogs. So I guess from just like a conceptual point, like, how do you fix it if you don't have what the core of what this program was for the last 30 years of just solid offense and defensive lines?
Yeah, the game does, especially in Wisconsin, start up front, and we did talk about that, touch on a little bit last week. Is it starts up front, especially at Wisconsin, because we've always been a line first and move backwards. We always started with the line. We had, and I'll admit, the lines that I played with, the defensive lines and the offensive lines that I played with, our best players were on those lines, even though I was a D-back. I knew that the talent, I knew that if I had a really good D-line and pretty darn good linebackers, that it would help us as a secondary. And so Wisconsin football has always been known for that. And the same thing on the offense. You start with the line, you work your way back, and then, you're going to have a great running back, and then you go to the quarterback and have a really solid quarterback. You don't need a great one, right? And you need some pretty decent receivers. And that's how Wisconsin football has always been built. And, coming in, just Fickle kind of blowing that up a little bit and bringing all these different type of players in and offensive styles in, really kind of set Wisconsin football back and the things that we really prided ourselves on since the 90s. And that really affected the whole program, I think. It's hard to recover when you're one thing for so long and then try to go where everyone else is going. And don't get me wrong, a lot of the college football teams in the nation are doing that same exact thing. Yeah. They were really changing to the spread and the pistol and all that. But we are a unique program here in Wisconsin. We have unique fans, a unique program. Everything about Wisconsin is different than most college football teams. And I know a little bit about college football. We're just different here. We're built different. We have a different attitude. And he tried to kind of change that a little too fast, especially. But he tried to change that a little bit. And we're seeing what the outcome is of that. So again, you just gotta, just like you said in the NFL too, you start with the line, but it's especially important here at Wisconsin because of the kind of players
like the freaking DNA of the team, man.
The kind of players that we get here at Wisconsin, it has to start up front.
Well, okay, I gave you top billing, right, Gridiron, because but Grapple, we love wrestling. And by the way, Luke Fickle was did you know this? National champion wrestler.
I did know that.
Was Luke Fickle. So I've seen him because in my other life, I am a wrestling coach and own a wrestling business, and he's a great wrestling supporter, and I've talked to him 50 times at wrestling tournaments. His kids wrestle, he's been to my club, great dude. But here's the thing I gotta say. Okay. When you were there, and what Barry did was say, let's build a wall right around this mitten right here, backwards, that is Wisconsin. I looked at the top 8 recruits in the state of Wisconsin for the class of 2026. Top 8.
Yeah.
How many of them do you think have committed to play for the University of Wisconsin next year?
Honestly, I have no clue, but I'm going to take a guess and shot it in the dark. 0?
0. Not one, not two. You're not going to get every guy.
No.
Someone's they always want to play at Notre Dame, or their dad's from Minnesota.
But you're always going to get the linemen, especially. That's the one you have to get. And not just Wisconsin too. Not just Wisconsin. Let's throw in Illinois, especially too. Yeah. We had a lot of players when we first started developing this program at UW. There's a lot of players that came from Illinois also. But Iowa, and you got Minnesota. Obviously the core is Wisconsin, but you got to work your way out. And Illinois was a really good pipeline for the Badgers also.
Well, and it makes it hurt even more. You probably remember the name Bob Bostad, right? He's now on Kirk Sidnetti's staff at Indiana. They've got, out of those top 8 that are the top 8 recruits, 3 of them are linemen. Guess where they're all going?
Yeah,
Indiana. Because when he was here with you and Barry, what did you guys do? You got those dogs, those guys from those tiny little Wisconsin towns that turned out to be NFL offensive linemen. And the Indiana coach is like, that's pretty smart. So, we're going to get into should Fickle still have his job. But when you're looking at why this state of the program is what it is, dude, I'm looking right there. You can't even, and it's not like this is Louisiana where you got 50 5-star recruits every year. You might have one, but if you're not getting the best recruits in your own state, what chance do you freaking have?
Yeah, not much. And talking about Indiana's coach, man, he's obviously a hot topic. Everyone's talking about him. He's done a great job. That does not surprise me, their success, and that does not surprise me that he's going after guys like that, because I have watched a couple of their games, and they're aggressive and they attack, and they're doing all the right things, and he says the right things. And but let's be honest, that's not normal. We're seeing a unicorn right now. This guy is doing some seriously special stuff at Indiana, and I would not expect Fickle to be.
But you
like
would say
that
in
instantly.
1993, when you got on this campus, what Barry Alvarez did was a unicorn too. We were in the lowest of the low, the dump of the dump, and this dude took us from a joke to beating UCLA in the Rose Bowl.
And it happened pretty fast too. He did a great job. That's why he's a legend. That's why his name's on the field. Everyone loves him.
Yep.
Everyone knows. People are talking. Maybe he should come back and
Barry,
make some decisions.
Come on.
And of course, he was a great player coach, and I loved everything about Alvarez when he was there, and everything that he's done after. But again, when you talk about Wisconsin football and you talk about Wisconsin sports, we always build, just like staying in Wisconsin to get recruits. We always build from within and work our way out, and we had a lot of success when we did that with Bielema and Alvarez. Just sticking with the guys that we know, and bringing those type of guys in, because you get a certain kind of player and people here at Wisconsin, and you need those people, because those are the type of people that are your core.
Yeah.
We're not going to go down to Florida. We're not going to go to California. We're not going to go to all these other places in Texas and get all their number one players out of those states. That's not how we do it, and that's not how we're ever going to do it. We're not that type of program, and so hopefully we start getting back toward that type of attitude, because that attitude is definitely gone out of Wisconsin right now. And just the hometown people, just everyone, just the feeling, it just feels different now. It feels like we're more of a corporation instead of a family-owned business.
Yeah, no, it's a great point.
When we were a family-owned business at Wisconsin, boy, we loved each other, we fought for each other, and not just the players, the fans, the community, everybody.
Well, and that's why, and we're going to talk about the Packers. That's why I think the Packers will always be great, whenever it's Favre, Rodgers, Jordan Love, whoever's the next guy, because it is community. They're ingrained in the community. You can walk to Lambeau Field, and by the way, you can still do that at Camp Randall, and that's how it felt, when you guys were kicking ass and winning games. All right, before we finish this segment, because it really depresses me, we mentioned all those other schools that have now. James Franklin. I mean, Penn State was a first down away from playing for the national title last year. You lose to UCLA, you lose to Northwestern. See ya. Billy Napier beat Texas, who's preseason number one. Now you lose a couple, middling SEC teams. Bye. Brian Kelly is 34-10 at LSU.
Yeah, no one liked him, though. Let's be honest.
I agree. But
I couldn't stand the guy since he was at Notre Dame anywhere. He's just kind of that annoying guy.
Agreed. But my point is, those are three of the blue blood programs that fired their coaches. My question to you is the fact that, and we're going to have to let this season play out, and that Mickey Mouse email Chris McIntosh said, we'll deal with that another day. But my question for today is do you think by those schools doing what they did and us not moving on from Fickle, when, by the way, they did move on from Paul Chris midseason after a terrible loss, is it a signal that we're not taking football as seriously as some of these power schools like Penn State, like LSU, like Florida?
I think it's somewhat changing times, honestly. I think that college football is just so much about money now, and I agree. A lot of it is about money right now, and that's why you're seeing people getting pulled so fast. And Penn State's James Franklin getting fired in mid-season, and you're seeing these guys getting fired mid-season, but they're also bringing in a lot of money for these guys, man. And those type of programs are throwing money at players and coaches. And again, we're not built that way. That's not how we shouldn't go down that route, in my opinion. That's not the route that Wisconsin football should ever go down. Obviously, you need money to build a good program. You need money for facilities and You need money for players. You need to get, pick some Texas guys, some Florida guys, and throw some money at them.
You can get a Ron Dane out of New Jersey. You can get a Jonathan
Yes.
Taylor out of New Jersey.
Exactly.
You can get a Chris Chambers out of. I mean, it happens. But yeah,
Yes.
like 90%'s got to come from in this state, and then you hit that. You hit that guy, that out-of-state guy. Ron Dane he was a good recruit. He wasn't a 5-star. He became the greatest running back in the history of college football.
But you're talking about LSU. You're talking about Penn State. You're talking about Florida. You're talking about teams that have won national titles, right?
Correct.
And that's.
So do you think that they did that because those fan bases wouldn't allow it, and that our fan base, if we had, let's say Wisconsin.
Well, we kind of did the same thing though with Fickle. If you think about it, we knew what our base was. We knew who we were as a program at Wisconsin. We don't have any national titles. They do.
Yeah.
And so they're kind of like a step ahead a little bit, and that's why they're responding and acting faster because. They're expecting national title runs,
right.
Where we're expecting Big Ten runs. And so the Fickle hire, and that's why I don't blame McIntosh.
No.
At the time, it was a great hire because you're looking at trying to take that next step for the Wisconsin football program. And obviously, it didn't pan out great, but so far. But I get what he was thinking, and I get what he was doing. He was trying to jump into that class with Penn State.
Yeah.
He was trying to jump into that class with LSU. But again. I think the decisions that were made football-wise was the problem.
All right, enough of this negativity. You're bringing me down. I'm at X-Golf.
I'm bringing you down.
I got to play
You're bringing
league
me
here.
down.
I got my buddy Johnny O. I don't want to tell you more about this crap. We're going to come back. We're going to talk something positive. The Packers had one of the greatest second halves. Jordan Love, 20 straight completions against our old boy Aaron Rodgers. We'll talk about that next.
With nearly 5,000 chartered clubs and 2,000 sanctioned events nationwide, USA Wrestling provides safety, security, and opportunity to over 250,000 members of all ages, while providing a clear path from beginning wrestler all the way to Olympic champion. Be sure to visit joinusawrestling.com to become a member of USA Wrestling today. USA Wrestling, where Olympic journeys begin.
You know that first cold morning? The one that bites? Be the one who smiles, not shivers. Save $3,600 when you upgrade your furnace and AC before October 31st. Cardinal keeps you ready. From pipes to power, we're here every hour.
Draft House Restaurant, located at 1010 Enterprise Drive in Verona, serves up a menu lineup that will cure anyone's hunger. Draft House can also host parties for your events. They have NFL tickets, so come watch your favorite team. Serving lunch, dinner, and everything in between, open daily at 11 a.m. The absolute best place to watch sporting events with our perfectly placed 25 TVs with an atmosphere that's hard to beat.
All right, welcome back. We're at X-Golf. It's all right, bro. It's tape. It's Gridiron and Grapple this week. We are again at X-Golf in Middleton. Check out all the great leagues and events. Book your private event. My guy Kevin's just robbing all of our pizzas here. Bye, Kevin. Yeah, you can have a private event here. 2 locations, east side here in Middleton, XGolfMadison.com. All right, we got out. I'm glad we did that crap first with the Badgers because now I'm happy. Because I love talking about this next topic, and that would be our Green Bay Packers. By the way, you played for the Packers. You had a cup of coffee. People don't know that, right? You got any Packer gear?
Yeah, I do actually. But I played for a little bit there. I was the most picked up and cut Denver Bronco to Green Bay Packer player ever.
Hashtag legend right here. All right, so Sunday Night Football, Green Bay Packers. It's it didn't feel like, obviously, when Brett Favre came back into Lambeau wearing that Viking jersey, that was, I will swear to God, Brett Favre will forever be my sports idol. I took every number 4 jersey I had.
He was the man.
And threw it in the trash can that day that he walked into Lambeau Field wearing a purple 4. Obviously, not even close to the same thing. Rodgers way removed. He went to the Jets, got hurt. This is a road game. It's in Pittsburgh, so the build-up wasn't the same. But I love Rodgers. He won. He brought us a Super Bowl. He was 4-time freaking MVP for the Packers. So there's still a story there with Rodgers playing, the Packers. But it wasn't nearly as big a deal as it was with Brett Favre. Okay, so then you focus on the game. First half, Rodgers looks really good, right? Packers are losing. and you're like,
Well, you expected that. You would expect that.
You think?
You know, he was excited. You know, he was gonna be excited playing it, and he's playing at home. Like, yeah, he was probably, his adrenaline was probably going pretty good, for sure.
okay, so
Even as an older guy, you still get a little adrenaline going.
Dude, because he can still obviously play.
It's your old team, man. You know, that's like if I went to play at Illinois and I was playing against the Badgers.
Yeah.
You know, if I transferred to Illinois, then I would be trying to play 10 times harder.
So then the
sure.
story becomes, okay, so then it's not the first step. What I want to focus on is Green Bay's down at the half. It's not like they're getting blown out, but they're losing. You know, Pittsburgh, okay, are they a good team? Are they a bad team? Are they just a product because Joe Burrow's hurt and the Bengals are down, the Lamar Jackson's hurt and the Ravens are down, and the Browns are always the Browns and they suck. And Pittsburgh just by default's the best team. Okay, so maybe Pittsburgh is good. You know, you paid all this money, you got, TJ Watt, you got this great defense. And then the second half comes. And Jordan, my man Love, completes 20 passes in a row. The Packers outscore the Steelers in the second half 28-3. Green Bay cruises. Packers continue to have the number 1 seed in the NFC, which is by far and away the best conference. I mean, the AFC, Kansas City looks better. The AFC is trash. The NFC is ridiculous.
NFC is better.
And Green Bay right now is the number 1 seed. So I know you're kind of always not hating Jordan Love, but not praising. You're kind of in the middle, which I appreciate.
I am.
I'm a homer. I'll admit that.
I'm definitely not.
My next tattoo after the elite guy, I'm going to get the G right here as soon as Mitch gives me my gas money. Thanks, Mitch. Did that change your opinion? 20 in a row on the road. I mean, Pittsburgh's not great, but they are good. You know, if that thing had turned the wrong way and Green Bay loses, it's going to be Rodgers. You know what I mean? Like, how big of a statement was that? You know, on the micro and the small, and then the macro, like the overall of like what Jordan Love and the Packers can be this season.
Well,
and really
I'm going to push
forward.
back a little bit with the Jordan Love thing. I'm not a hater. Okay, I'm not a hater of Jordan Love.
I know you're not. But you're not a lover.
I just said. A lot of times I say, you know, if you put a person in a program, including an NFL football program, for 3 or 4 years before they even have to step on the field, and you learn behind a Hall of Fame quarterback, you should be pretty good. And then you add in the fact that they got some heck of coaches there too at Green Bay.
Yeah.
But I will start with, Green Bay, Pittsburgh. How awesome is that? I mean,
Sunday night football,
two storied programs,
Super Bowl rematch.
That's just really cool. First of all, I want to start with that because I love everything about Pittsburgh. I love how they run their program.
Well, if there's a twin of the Packers, it's the Steelers.
Exactly.
Right?
So two great traditions, great program. And then of course Green Bay is excellent. So that was a pretty cool thing to see. And then you throw in the Aaron Rodgers thing, just really cool. But, Pittsburgh, I think, I'm going to start with Pittsburgh just because, like you said, Cincinnati, they're really struggling. Lamar Jackson and
Baltimore.
But
when you lose Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson, then you are the Cleveland Browns. I mean, by default, I think Pittsburgh's obviously the best team in this division.
And they always have an excellent defense and an excellent head coach. But for me, the second half with Jordan Love, his coaches do a really great job at adjusting. Let's be honest, they really do. And then you put him in the position that he's been there for so long, and the coaches are really good at adjusting their plays, and so for me it was kind of expected.
Yeah.
And then you knew Pittsburgh was going to be really excited to play that game, even though it was Aaron Rodgers that was coming playing against the Packers. They were going to fight for him. You knew they were going to fight for him because, again, he is a Hall of Famer. He's an excellent player, and they're going to fight for their teammate. They knew how much it meant to Aaron Rodgers to play well. So,
okay. So that being said, does that give you, talking back to Jay Love, does that the fact that you knew that Pittsburgh circled the second that Aaron Rodgers signed with the Steelers, you knew that game was circled, right? Because the schedule came out before Aaron Rodgers signed with the Steelers, FYI. So,
okay.
The second Rodgers signed, you knew that, and whatever people, it's funny like that people rip on Rodgers all the time. Like everything I read, every person I talk to, like everyone in the Packers locker room loved him, everyone in the Jets locker room loved him, everyone in the Steelers locker room loves him. Like, and he's a weird guy, and he says stuff in the media. Anyway, that's a sidebar. But my point is, what you said is a really good point. Like, does that make it more impressive that this probably was not the Super Bowl, because I'm sure the Steelers think with their record in their division they can make the Super Bowl, but that they wanted to show up for Rodgers than they did in the first half, and that love to complete 20 in a row in the second half. That's nothing's everything, everything's something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that does say a lot about Rodgers. And again, like I said, you knew they were going to step up and play well for him. Like you said, people like being around him. His teammates always liked him. He's a Hall of Fame player. He gets along with those guys. So I wasn't surprised at all.
But love, to have that, does that give you more? Are you like, if you were 50-50, like asking him on a date, are you like 60-40 now?
Love is
like, all right, maybe
I'll
call this girl up.
Well, he's kind of the same way. People really like him. People really like him in the locker room. They're going to fight for him. And after all that emotion, get over all that emotion in the first half, and in the second half, it's just kind of football. It's kind of 11 on 11. It's just football. And those guys, they love playing. The receivers love playing with him. The tight ends. I mean, the whole offense loves playing with Jordan Love, and he brings a lot to the table. And so, again, it doesn't surprise me that he played well.
All right, we're going to obviously talk about the Panthers coming up in our Best Bet segment. He and I will both give you our predictions and picks against the spread and winner for the game. So we'll save that. But I guess just, we got a couple minutes left in this segment, like the view now from 10,000 feet. Packers have, the number one seed, which is crazy to me to think about because I don't even think they've really played that good, overall this season. And, Philadelphia is the defending Super Bowl champ. The Rams look like dogs. Baker Mayfield was the MVP as of 2 weeks ago. The Lions are still the Lions. I mean, the NFC is ridiculous. Does it make you think like, and again, and I love talking about this because like you played it, you're not like a super fan like me, you're more like grounded, which I wish I was sometimes. But does that give you more like, as an objective watcher, like, damn, maybe Green Bay really is the best team in the NFC? Because I thought they'd be good this year. The Micah Parsons thing was awesome. Mm-hmm. I didn't know if they'd be better than the Lions. I didn't know if they'd be better than the Eagles. I think they might be.
At the beginning of the year, I would not have said that at all. I thought Philly was the clear-cut favorite, and you see the Rams coming out of nowhere. We didn't see that coming at all. They look really good, man. I watched a couple Rams games, and they look really nice. Philly, they're hot and cold, it seems like lately.
But that's always them. They have the best roster probably in the NFL, right?
Yeah, they do, for sure. And so you look at Philly, but Green Bay's right there with all those teams in the NFC, man. They're right there with them. They can beat anybody on any Sunday. They say any given Sunday.
Great
they
movie.
Can beat, right?
What'd you think of Willie Beeman?
He's steaming. But
keeps the ladies screaming.
I didn't go that far. Maybe for another segment. But great movie though. Yeah, but they can hang with anybody. And the North is not exactly a walkover either. You got Detroit. They're always going to be good with their head coach, and Goff is playing excellent football. And and then you got the Bears.
Dude, the Bears are freaking like 5-3.
And if you think about the four teams the Vikings, they're okay. But you think about the four teams in the NFC North, man.
Yeah.
They can hang with anybody in the NFC. They really can. I would take any of those four teams and give them a shot against Tampa Bay, give them a shot against the Rams, give them a shot against Philly. I'd give them a shot against anybody, any of the four teams in the North. But right now, Green Bay, I feel like, probably is the best team in the North.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that paying you to say that?
A little bit. But I'm surrounded by...
He was born in Minnesota, by the way, so,
But I'm not a Minnesota Vikings fan, trust me. I'm just a football fan. I love football. And these Green Bay Packer fans wear on me a little bit because they love their football, man. And just like the Badgers, hey, you got to love people that, when they love their football, you got to support it.
All right, before we get to best bets, I thought this would be a perfect segue because it's not NFL, but I'm sure it's in every sport. The gambling, the insane story, right, in the NBA with the point shaving and, the prop bets and Chauncey Billups and Mike Rozier. The reason I want to ask you is because it's, there wasn't a DraftKings and there wasn't Prize Picks. They didn't have apps when you played. But I guess my question is, you played at the highest level in college, you played at the highest level in the NFL.
Yeah.
Was that ever a thing?
Yes, 100%.
Really?
Yes. And I'm not saying the NFL is rigged, and I'm not saying all these things. I do know that when I was playing for Denver and we would play Green Bay, and there was legitimate talk that we're going to have to get a couple turnovers from Brett Favre because, the refs are going to, those 50-50 calls are going to, because everyone wants to get Green Bay in there a little bit, get them in the playoffs. the NFL players knew that, and we knew that going into the Green Bay game.
Wow.
And then safety Eric Brown was like, yeah, I'm going to try to get a couple picks and have him throw me. But, that was kind of and I'm not saying it was rigged, and I'm not saying the refs, I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying, there's always going to be a lean toward.
That's crazy.
There's always going to be
19. What year did you play with the Broncos?
That's early 2000. So,
wow.
And that was legitimate talk by the players. We had that conversation on defense. We said we're going to have to get a couple of extra turnovers against Green Bay because we know that they're going to get a phantom defensive holding call. They're going to get a phantom hands to the face. They're going to get some type of call that helps them on a 2nd and 10 or 3rd and 7, something like that, that's going to allow their offense to stay on the field. We knew that was going to happen, and whether we were just kind of seeing things, maybe it felt real. It really did, and we had the conversation. So it is a part of the game, and people think that it's not, but it is a part of the game. If you think about subjective calls, you make calls sometime with bias in the back of your head. Right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you see a play and you have bias toward it. Well, my Green Bay guy didn't really pull the jersey, but he did. But that's not a foul, right? But when you're the other guy on the offensive side on the other team, it's like, hey, that guy he really pulled his jersey. Why is that not a pass interference?
People run the stuff like Patrick Mahomes on like the level of penalties against the Chiefs, and maybe that's a thing. I'm just thinking like, okay, Mike Rozier, this basketball player, made $138 million in his career, and he's gonna dive on how many rebounds he got. Do you think that like these there's so much money that these players are making? Why would they like Chauncey Billups? He's in the freaking Hall of Fame, and you're tanking a poker game.
Well, when we're talking about those type of things, that's more something. There's something that happens bigger than that. There's something that's bigger.
I know,
than
but
that
I'm
game.
just saying, like
it's
in an
like
NFL,
you get involved with the mafia or something. As soon as you're involved with them, you're stuck. You're going to have to start throwing all games. If I was just going to throw one game, and now all of a sudden it's a snowball effect.
Right.
Now they're going to be like, well, now you have to do this.
I guess I'm just thinking how easy it is. We go back to the Badgers and how much they suck. Like, can you imagine? The Badgers are on their 5th string quarterback. And by no means am I saying anything, but hey, buddy, your first pass is an interception. The props on that are plus 110. It's so easy to do it now.
Yeah, but with technology right now, it's so much easier to get caught.
That's true too. Which makes you wonder, why do these morons do it? But is it just like the addiction or the thrill? Like I don't get it. But I just thought in my opinion, it's people getting stuck. They're getting stuck in situations they can't get out of, and then it snowballs. And I can see basketball, because basketball, if you think about it, it's a little easier to rig. If you think about it,
there's so many more games. I accidentally stumble and turn the ball over. I miss a shot, not really trying to make it. A little easier. In football, you're going to you have plays and you see things out there that it's like, whoa, what is that guy doing? That's different. It's a little easier to get caught in a sport like football too.
Man, somewhere.
But it's crazy stuff going on.
Yeah.
Man.
So it's like, okay, James Cameron, Terminator 2. AI is going to take over. And then, the other one? Blue Chips.
Here we go.
Nick Nolte. Remember that movie with Shaq and Penny Hardaway?
Yep.
And he's like, I had one of your players, coach. I bought him. Did that movie come out 20 years ago? So,
it's been a long time.
If you want to look at the two movies that predict, like everyone says The Simpsons, it was Terminator 2 and it was Blue Chips.
Yeah.
They saw this gambling thing coming 20 years ago. Hey, that's a pretty good segment. You got your bets ready?
That's pretty good.
2-0 best bets. We're going to go for 3-0 coming up next year on Gridiron Grapple.
That first cold morning? The one that bites? Be the one who smiles, not shivers. Save $3,600 when you upgrade your furnace and AC before October 31st. Cardinal keeps you ready. From pipes to power, we're here every hour.
All right, we are back. It is Gridiron and Grapple. Joe Miller, Jason Suttle. We're here this week at X Golf in Middleton. About to play some 9 holes when we're done. I always ended with the best, right? I said you start with the bad.
Yep.
It's Wisconsin football. Kind of sprinkling some good in the middle. That's the Packers. And then you end with the best. Hit it. That's right. It is our best bet segment. I'm just going to say 2-0 on my blood bank special, which I do have. 2 weeks ago, Steelers over the Browns. Last week, Packers over the Steelers. 2-0 on our best bets, Jay, on the blood bank special. Before we get to that, you have a college game. We're going to pick the Packers against the spread, and I got a couple NFL games. But I'm impressed. I didn't like College Board. What do you got? Tell me what you like in college.
This is going to throw people for a loop a little bit, but Georgia going to Florida.
Ooh.
Florida's plus 9.5, I believe.
Biggest cocktail, world's largest outdoor cocktail party.
Florida just won their last game at home, and Georgia just had a tough game against Ole Miss. And now they have to go on the road to a Florida team that played pretty well last week, and now they're getting Georgia coming in after a really, really tough game. And I just remember those type of games, man, when you play really good teams and you have a really tough fight, and you're looking at the next team and you're like, they're okay. We're 10-point favorite. We should just roll our helmets out there a little bit. We're kind of beat up. We just want to move on to the next week. I'm telling you, man, Florida plus 9.5. That's a bet right there.
I actually like that because that's the head coach fired. Billy Napier got fired going into the bye week. So you have a new coach. Players always want to show up and say, see, it was the coach's fault. It wasn't ours. I don't hate that. Okay.
Thanks, man.
Okay, bro. All right, I'm going to start with one in the NFL. This is just, to me, this is just stupid easy. The Chargers minus 9.5 at the Titans. The Titans might be one of the worst teams in the last 10 years in the NFL. Cam Ward is a disaster. This team is a disaster. They've already fired their coach. Jim Harbaugh lives for games like this. They got their defense healthy. They're getting all their stars back. Khalil Mack, Bosa. This is just going to be a rout. The Chargers will win this game 38-7. I mean, minus 9. Are you kidding me? It's like one of the easiest bets I've ever seen. All right, speaking of easy bets, Green Bay Packers at home, minus 13 against the Panthers. We did this dance a couple weeks ago with the Bengals, and we thought it was too much. Turns out we were right. Packers won and didn't cover. Same thing? What do you think? Cover? Win? Both?
Well, first of all, I'm going to step back and the San Diego pick, San Diego.
LA, yeah.
The LA
you like
pick,
it?
I love it. I love it. Titans.
That could have been my blood bank. I won't even better if you can believe that.
Titans are not good, man. Cam Ward does not look well.
Yeah.
In that offense.
I mean, like I said, that's one of the worst. I mean, the Jets are bad. There's some bad teams. Like the Titans are like historically bad, how bad they play.
Yeah, exactly. But to get to my pick, hey, can we get to my pick?
Oh, you have an NFL pick.
Yeah,
I didn't know. My bad. Go ahead. Yes,
you're just gonna jump right to the Packers. Just skip my pick, right? Don't worry about my pick.
No. Give it to
watch.
me.
See, Detroit Lions against Minnesota Vikings. You got J.J. McCarthy coming back.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz is out, and he looked bad.
He was crying, dude. That was tough to watch.
It's tough to watch, man. How do you leave him in the game? They must not have had another quarterback.
I don't think they must have had a backup
that could have even handed the ball off, because I would have taken him out of the game. That's like some old school 1990s stuff, having that guy in the game. I felt bad for the guy.
Yeah, that was weird.
But J.J. McCarthy coming back now, and man, like I've said it. I said it when they drafted him. I'll keep saying it. They're on their way down with that guy. I love the guys. Love the man.
Dude, why do you think they put Carson Wentz with a broken arm out there? Because they had that little faith in McCarthy to bring him off IR.
Yeah,
now they have to play him. So they have no other quarterbacks.
It's just not a good situation there, man. So, and Detroit's just a solid team, solid foundation. They're always going to come to play, and there's just so many variables going on with Minnesota right now. Not just with him getting hurt and then Wentz really getting beat up. There's just so many variables right now with Minnesota. I just think they're really, really in trouble.
I like that one too. I mean, you look at Tampa Bay's a playoff team. They're going to win their division. They're really good, and Detroit destroyed them at home. I mean, Tampa Bay would beat Minnesota by 10 points, so I love that bet.
Exactly.
That was on my list as well. All right, I didn't mean to cut you up. I'm just excited to pick my team.
Right? I wanted to get mine in there too, though, man.
Before I get to
get it on tape.
Before I get to the blood bag, take it to the bank. Steven Seagal, mark for death. All right, give me Packers minus 13.5. We talked about this. The last big spread, and the last couple, by the way, the two biggest spreads were Green Bay. I think it was 13-14 against Cincinnati, and Buffalo was 14 against the Saints. Neither of those covered. Here we go again, 13.5. Packers in Lambeau. What do you think?
I'm just gonna cut right to the chase, man. I love it. I think it's a great bet. The Packers, after what the Packers did against Pittsburgh, I don't think it's going to be a problem. I think they're just going to sail.
Yeah.
I think they're going to sail, and it's going to start getting cold too.
I mean, look, does Bryce Young play? Does Andy Dalton? Who gives a
Who
crap?
cares?
I mean,
Yeah.
Buffalo went in there, and Buffalo was reeling, by the way. They lost 2 straight, and people were doubting if the Bills were legit. They hang a 38 burger in Carolina. I love this game. Micah Parsons is going to go berserk. The Panthers have a terrible offensive line.
Yep.
He'll get 2 or 3 sacks. Rashawn Gary gets a sack. Josh Jacobs finally breaks out. You know, he's been struggling. It's going to be like 35-10. You know, Packers just absolutely mollywop the Carolina Panthers.
had one good game there, if I remember right. They scored
They've
like
won
40.
a couple games.
They had
but
one where they scored 40-something points or something. You know, I was amazed at that because Carolina is just that bad, man.
yeah, they're terrible. This is like one of the also like your bet was on my list. My Charger bet, this bet, but you know what? I think I can't believe I'm doing this because it's polarizing. But it is Monday Night Football, and you know the old. What was that Matthew McConaughey and Al Pacino movie, the gambling movie, like 2 for the Money or something? You ever see that? Where they were like handicappers? And it was always like, hey, if you lose on Saturday, you get it back on Sunday. You lose on Sunday, you get it back on Monday Night Football. Well, here's that bet because this is my take it to the bank, Joe Miller's 3 weeks in a row blood bank special. The Dallas Cowboys -2 at home against the Arizona Cardinals. That offense in that stadium. They hung 40 on Green Bay. Our defense has been pretty good outside of that game. Yeah, they look terrible against the Broncos, but that's on the road. That's an altitude. Broncos probably have the best defense in the NFL. Get right game. Cowboys come home. Kyler Murray's a joke. He might not even play. Cowboys, Dak, they get CeeDee Lamb back. They slaughter the Cardinals. Take it to the blood bank. Cowboys -2. You like
Can't
it?
beat that. Love it.
You like it?
Dak's been balling, man. Dak's been playing out of his mind. They're talking. He's up for MVP race. So yeah,
He should be right in it. Okay, so recap. Jason likes Florida in college football in the points.
Yep.
You like the Lions in the points in the NFL.
Yep.
I like the Chargers in the points in the NFL. We both like the Packers to cover. And your blood bank, take it to your mother's grave. Cowboys -2. That's it. All right, brother.
nice job.
Hey, let's go play some golf. Thanks for watching. Thanks everyone here at X Golf. We'll see you next week here on
2 under.
Gridiron and the Grapple. Peace!